All right, I'll get. Excuse me. Had a bit of a spicy dinner, so it might be sticking my throat.
All good, all good. What did you have?
There was a shawarma place that also they added Doritos to the shawarma, and so I was like, okay, sure.
Why the fuck not?
Hey now. All right, I guess I'll. Hello to all you tea time. Wait a minute. I don't think there's any turtles this time.
Uh, Unfortunately not. Maybe there's a turtle in a background shot of the anime or something.
Maybe. But somehow we're still having tea time at the elaborate sorority manor at Mount Inufune Quarry. Because this is a Detour Quarry, not Turtle Tea Time. I'm Mel, and here's Catherine.
Hello, I'm Catherine. I'm the person from the Gamera podcast. I don't really know what else to
Uh,
say.
yeah, well, we're not talking about Gamera today.
That's
We have read. Fucking tickle my throat. We have read a short manga. I extremely didn't prepare anything for this. This is from off the cuff. We have read the 1970s shoujo manga classic, Dear Brother, or Onisama E.
and
A probably.
and yeah, and both of us have also seen the anime.
Yeah. So technically, this is officially for the manga. Is the reason we did this, but it's also cheating because excuse me, fucking spicy dinner. Hope that's not gonna be an issue for the rest of the recording. We both happen to see the anime pretty recently. I did with Ghost Divers, and you did it in advance of that, just coincidentally.
Yes. I feel like for me it's still been like a few months, but
Yeah,
you know,
for me it's been like
not too long.
yeah, for me it's been pretty recent, but also spread out over a couple months. So in a way, this is cheating because we'll inevitably talk about the anime as well.
Yeah, I guess it's like mainly for the manga, but maybe we'll talk about the anime a little bit.
Yeah, we'll definitely probably inevitably compare and contrast. But the manga is pretty short, to the extent that it's actually kind of crazy. The anime is as long as it is. Uh, Now I know why, which is they made a whole bunch of shit up.
That's true. It's a pretty radical adaptation.
Um, some might say decisions were made, and maybe we feel a certain way about those decisions.
Yeah, like
Um,
that's the thing. Well, this is an episode about the manga because I saw the anime first. My my context for the manga was like reading it and thinking about, oh, how is this different and similar to
yeah,
the anime? Uh,
yeah, because that's basically my context too. So basically, this is basically my excuse to be like, okay, we can instead of just like trying to squeeze it into the turtle talk somewhere, we're just like, okay, we just have a platform to talk about the anime in a longer form. We'll also talk about the manga, and then because the manga is just very quick. Let me just look up when this even came out, because
uh, looks
there's something
like
really
it's I have the Annie list page open, and they seem to say March 17th, 1974 to September 22nd, 1974.
damn.
Yeah,
And
this is
meanwhile,
like maybe it's because I'm a Gundam fan, but for me, my like metric of like something being like really old in like otaku adjacent spaces is it older than First Gundam?
yeah. Funny enough, I think the Rose of Versailles anime is the same year as Gundam. So,
Yeah, yeah, that sounds right.
um, and yeah, it is interesting that the anime adaptation by Osamu Dezaki, who did like the latter half of the Rose of Versailles anime, it comes out in '91 for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know why
um,
they randomly decided to adapt it.
because from what I can tell, it looks like Dear Brother was being written at basically concurrently with like Rose of Versailles. I guess I could look closer at fucking Wikipedia to confirm that, but it was like
Right.
she was basically working on it around the same time, um, and maybe that informed some of the choice plot stuff, which felt weird to me in the anime. And here I'm like, well, it still feels weird, but I feel like because I know this is from the '70s, I'm giving it more rope. Where it's like, oh, the '70s.
Uh, yeah, though
um,
I also think the anime chooses to emphasize certain things and add certain things where
yeah,
the
or even tweak
manga
certain
does
things.
not. Yes. Um.
And maybe because it's like 39 episodes long for a 3 volume manga, that's like 17 chapters. Uh, and also, um, maybe through the creative lens of some old men as opposed to like a woman by the manga, there's some other choices being made in the anime that may be questionable.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
You
but
don't
before,
say. Uh. So how
but
do you
maybe, but maybe we
wanna
should.
how do you wanna
Do
tackle
you want to?
this?
Do you want to give just quickly a brief synopsis or premise for what this thing is, just before we go into it?
Yeah, okay, that's a good way to start. So Onisama is about Misono Nanako. She's pen pals with her fake brother, who's this teacher guy. This part is honestly mostly not that important until the very end, and even then. Takehiko, uh, she joins this like
Yeah,
private all
it's mostly
girls
like
school.
a
It's a framing device mostly.
yeah.
So she joins this all girls school and ends up joining their sorority. Despite not really being the like type of like rich girl who would normally be a part of something like that. Um.
Yeah.
Uh.
Drama
So
ensues.
drama ensues. A little bit involving her new best friend Mariko, but especially in the manga, it mostly revolves around these three senpai characters she knows. Uh, Rei, who she ends up dating for a while. Fukiko, who is
Kind of
most
asterisk.
kind of asterisk. Uh, Fukiko, who is in the manga mostly more of a like antagonistic character who represents the status quo, and Kaoru, who is like the sporty kind of butch one. It's
Yeah,
about
Fukiko,
Nanako.
importantly, Fukiko crucially is like the leader of the sorority.
Yes, and there's a lot of drama going on with these three and like their interpersonal relationships. Uh, and you kind of just see that through Nanako's eyes, and it's a bit of a like melancholic, some could even say dour, like coming of age story.
Yeah, especially because as she is subjected to everything happens so much, and it's like, why is everything happening so much to me?
Yes, this is one of the differences between the anime and the manga that I found very, very striking. Is that in the manga, in the anime, because it is 39 episodes, uh, it's a lot more chill. There is a lot more time for slice of life. Uh,
Yeah.
it
Well,
doesn't feel
I'll
as
give a
oppressive.
yeah. Though also I did read this pretty quickly because it is a pretty quick read, and I was like, oh, I basically chugged the last 2/3 of this yesterday. I'm pretty fast at manga, so. Um,
Right.
I will say, for instance, one major change the anime makes is that uh, in this manga, she has her best friend, normal girl Tomoko, who basically, due to shenanigans by lesbian crush Mariko, uh, ruins their friendship for basically up until the end of the story, kind of, where like, oh, they bump into each other and like, yeah, you know what, maybe we're chill now. Whereas in the anime, they gets resolved a lot earlier, and like Tomoko is just basically her friend for most of the story, as like they become a throuple basically, with Mariko. Uh,
Yes, it's
so
one of
like
those
that
things
can
that definitely contributes to the anime feeling like it has a bit of a chiller vibe.
yeah, because she's got like her friend group that she hangs out with, as opposed to uh, sometimes Mariko is there and sometimes not because of the plot stuff happening.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, were you gonna say something else? I wasn't sure.
No, I mean, that's the basic premise of the story, and like obviously
Yeah,
there's a lot happens, but we'll have a chance to talk about those things as we talk through,
yeah,
and if we miss anything, maybe just take that as an opportunity to read the manga yourself and find out.
yeah. Um, I would say before we get into plot differences, I think one of the more interesting aspects is the aesthetic differences between this
Yeah,
and the anime. Because I found it to be pretty striking how different they were in like their aesthetic language and even
yeah,
just overall vibe. Because like, because like I'd say like most, I'm gonna say not Nanako, in my opinion, but like most of the characters, you can see the anime design, where they come from, the manga design, but also the art style is just really, really different.
Yes, Nanako looks completely
and
different.
um, and they're going off the same vibe. Where they're both like the short-haired, brown-haired girl, normal girl, but like she does look very different, and also, I think I want to say that like there's like a maybe an attempted groundedness question mark to the present to the anime. There's a lot of like taking advantage of manga to be expressive. You get lots of like comedic moments where characters look goofier or like chibi-esque or even like cartoony faces. Which interestingly enough, like recently I read another contemporary shoujo manga, They Were 11, which I noticed, that's a similar like style of doing cartoony faces when people are embarrassed or angry or something like that. Regularly, Nanako is like looking with like mouth agape with like stars in her eyes as like things keep happening to her. And I just think like there's like it's less exaggerated in the anime, which instead goes for Tazaki doing every other frame is like a postage stamp style thing. He does a lot of that in that show. And I think I would also say, like when I see like the art style for like the anime, I think like looks a lot more like other Tazaki manga, if that makes sense. Like whenever I see official art of Aim for the Ace or whatever, it kind of looks like that. I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think it's interesting, just like the visual. There's a real aesthetic difference between the two works.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I think part of it is that they're approaching it from very different tones. Like Dazaki always wants it to kind of be in like serious melodrama mode, whereas Ryo Ikeda is a lot more willing to sort of have some fun with it, let the characters make a silly face, you know.
Yeah, which, Takahiko is still basically just a guy. He's not he's not that interesting of a character. But he at least was endearing to me in the first chapter where he was just like made a goof of himself tripping and he had like a little cartoony face when he did it.
Yes, that was a good bet.
Yeah. I'm just looking up screenshots of like the 80s Aim for the Ace OVAs Dazaki did. I'm like, oh yeah, this looks like it could fit into the Dear Brother anime. So I'm like, clearly there's the missing link between like the Rosa Versailles anime and Dear Brother anime, aesthetically anime.
Right.
The way to do like the original Aim for the Ace anime before Rosa Versailles. And he's kind of funny. Like I watched that a bit of it. I've watched a bit of it around the same time I started Dear Brother, and it's funny. Like the plot of that show kind of starts in a similar place as Dear Brother, with like, oh, the normal girl gets joins the varsity team of the tennis team by the coach, despite the fact that she doesn't as good as everyone else, kind of thing, and everyone bullies her for it. And there's even the super ace girl who's maybe the Fukuko seinen, except less, less the antagonist.
Right.
So
yeah, I actually, off the cuff, I don't think I've seen any other Dazaki anime. I never watched Rose of Versailles. I just read the manga.
I watched it with GGP, so I haven't read the manga. But also I think I also think I've seen like, because I've watched all of Lupin. I've watched the Lupin stuff Tazaki did, and I later found out, oh, he did that. I forgot about that.
Right,
Because he did a
right,
bunch of
yes.
like the Lupin TV specials.
Yeah, I what's the word? I've wanted to watch Ashita no Joe, but haven't hit there yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't seen a crazy amount of stuff by him, but I've seen like at this point I've seen like a decent amount, I think. Um, he did a whole bunch of Hamtaro movies. But anyway, back to Dear Brother. um, yeah, so we have um, Nanako was basically put through the ringer, dealing with the problem of her circumstances, and also just like these three big presences at school.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like because the anime is longer, it tries to give them maybe more, and how it expands that maybe is not. I guess it could go either way, maybe.
It sort of depends on the character, I think, and also what
Yeah,
part of the story they're adapting. Uh,
yeah,
Sometimes it doesn't really feel like they're actually adding that much as they are just going through the material really slowly. Um,
yeah,
but some characters do get like a decent extra amount, like Fukiko gets a lot more sort of direct,
yeah,
like interiority and focus in the anime. Um, so does
yeah,
Mariko, because they kind of give Mariko some, what you could broadly describe as filler arcs. Uh,
yeah. Because there's like this bit where like, is her name Aya?
yeah,
Who's like the rival, who's like bullying Nanako early in the story for being chosen for sorority instead of her. There's a girl exactly like her, named for the ace. And then she starts taunting Mariko because Mariko's dad is like porn writer who is getting divorced from Mariko's mom. And there's a scandal. And then Mariko like slashes her, which causes a whole thing. And then in the anime, they have like an extended episode of like where they kind of where I is like, I'm gonna go drown myself in the ocean, and they have to stop her, and they're like, you know what, we're reconciled now, kind of.
yeah.
As part of like
They
kind of, oh,
also
this is what the
sort of
sorority does to people.
they expand this they expand the whole Mariko's dad thing. Like they add this whole bit where
Yes,
Mariko's about to
well,
burn her
because
house down.
yes, because crucially, in the manga, her dad doesn't appear at all, and at most she's just like, yeah, I'm feeling really bad about the divorce, but I feel a bit better because I found this novel my dad wrote, that he wrote when he first met my mom, and it makes me feel happy. And in the anime, like her dad shows up, and she tries to burn the house down, and then he slaps some sense into her and is like, "Listen, I know I'm a piece of shit, but also, even I think I have some good qualities, and I think you should think like that about yourself too."
It's a really it's a pretty incredible bit. I really liked that episode. Generally the added Mariko stuff tends to work for me.
I do think it is a bit like, okay, come on. You don't get to say, you know what, I think I'm not that bad, actually. um, but is Yeah. Um, yeah, and also I guess yeah, uh, Fukiko gets an extended sequence because like one thing they kept is that Fukiko seems to like say like, oh, Nanako, you're in the sorority because I think you're cute and stuff, and won't possess you. And then Ray comes in and is like, not so fast. Actually, it's because the she's writing Dear Brother to Henmi Takehiko, who Fukiko can't get over. And she just wants to ruin your relationship with him so she can have her to himself. And she does have like a sweat drop, which implies that this is maybe the case, but like the manga kind of just like moves on from it really quickly, and we don't get as much of Fukiko's interiority to like know if that's true. Whereas the anime spends a lot of time going, "This is the backstory that shows this is exactly what's true." Um,
Yes, basically.
um, which does lead to an insane sequence where, in both the anime and the manga, where Nanako is being like forcefully romanced by Fukiko until Ray tells Fukiko to fuck off, and then Fukiko, because Ray's got weird, uh, her own thing going on with Fukiko, uh, which is incest. She also does it to Nanako. She's like, "Oh, let me kiss the ear, indirect kiss on your ear." Um, Truly unhinged. Um, you should probably talk about what Ray's deal is. Um,
Yeah,
Besides just looking
Ray,
like Alucard from Castlevania.
that's true. Ray is probably my favorite character in this thing. She's a pretty interesting girl. She has a lot going on. Uh,
Yeah,
she's Fukiko's, sibling, brackets adopted, brackets turned out, actually no, they have the same birth mother. Uh, if you've seen Ave Mujica, it's a bit of a like Uka and Sakiko type situation. Is probably
spoilers
the
for
easy.
spoilers for Alpha Music, by the way.
Oh God! I'm sorry, you can cut that bit out if you think we have to.
Um,
I'm like, yeah, Ave Mujica's been out for like a year. It's fine.
it's been like 6 months.
Okay, that's
Not
half a
even.
year.
I guess it has. Um,
um, Ray is suicidal for most of the run.
she loves doing drugs. It's her favorite
She
thing.
loves doing drugs. Ray is also uh what's the word? Ray is also changed by the adaptation. Uh, so the cool sort of catalyst for the third act of the story is that Ray dies, and this is the case
Yes.
in both versions, but both versions take a pretty different approach to it. The anime has this thing where she's like, "Oh, thanks, Nanako. Because of you, I'm definitely not suicidal anymore." And like, she goes to like go out on a date with Nanako. Uh, but the flowers she got for Nanako like sort of fly away a little bit, and she tries to reach out and grab
Yeah.
them, but she doesn't. She falls and she gets run over by a train. Uh,
Except, or falls on top of the train, and then the police
yeah,
officer's like, "Yeah, she." Someone said she was like really flying really high. I think that's important. You know this detail.
yes.
Uh,
The manga goes for something that I would call a little more interesting, where they just
I'd say
say,
it's also more ambiguous too.
yes, they just say that Ray overdosed, and that could mean a lot of things, because you can very easily
Yeah,
overdose on your pills by accident. Uh,
yeah,
so, whether
like
it is an
because it's like
accident,
she has, because she basically has in the anime, not the in the manga, she has like immediately before this, she is both Fukiko basically giving the ultimate rejection of like, ha ha ha, I actually think you're filth, and you groveling makes me feel superior, worm. And then her giving her thanks to Nanako for being there for her. And so it's kind of like, well, did she do it on purpose, or was it an accident? Who can say? We don't know, and we'll never know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good. I really like the way the manga handles it. I think the way the anime handles it is fine too, but it is occasionally a little silly, and it does feel like
it is a bit over the top.
It feels like they took a bit of the bite out of it.
Yeah, is a little silly. Even though like the whole like tension in the anime, like the tension leading up to it is pretty good. Like they do. Do a lot to be like, hey, something bad's gonna happen, and we're gonna spend like 5 minutes building up to it.
But yeah, I like Rei.
Yeah, unfortunately, I relate to her a little bit in terms of her ability to crash out minus the drugs. I was like, oh no, I don't feel good about this. But
no, understandable. I had a very similar reaction.
Especially recently. But anyway, one interesting note I noticed is you have earlier on the date where Rei basically strong arms Nanako into skipping class. And you have the thing where she kind of like makes Nanako smoke when Nanako's like, hey, can I smoke your used cigarette butts because I'm gay? Incidentally, like a couple weeks ago on Ultra Q, I asked the question in the context of an Ultra 7 episode that we were talking about, is it gay if two guys smoke from the same cigarette? Completely forgetting this thing from Dear Brother that's like doing that thing extremely. But I think it's interesting because like in the manga, there's actually like an earlier part, a couple chapters earlier, where Nanako tries smoking because Rei's like, hey, I want to smoke, and she tries it and like starts coughing. So I think it's interesting that she already tried it once and suffered the consequences, which is coughing. So I guess I would say like one interesting one in addition the anime makes because it's longer is that Nanako does like after Rei dies, she does actually do the thing and smoke the used cigarette butt that we see her try to do once but never do. We're definitely like hopping around the story a bunch. There's a not long linear way of talking about that's fine.
Yeah, the thing is, right, at the end of the day, it is a character drama, so I think and the character plot lines are, yeah, they're interlinked, but they are also kind of separate, so it does sort of just make sense to talk about it character by character.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Is there much to say about Fukiko that hasn't been said?
Well, yeah, the thing is, like, she and Rei are a bit of a set, and also, you know, she's into Takehiko, which we've already talked about.
Yeah, like, there's the whole thing. I think she's, like, in the anime, she's a lot more stoic about the sorority being dismantled. Whereas in this manga, she's, like, a lot more upset about it, which is interesting.
Yeah, she's kind of like, okay, so the way they, you can tell that this is by the same mangaka as Rose of Versailles, because they functionally just, the sorority is basically just treated as like a class caste system that has to be overcome, and,
yeah.
And, what's the word? Fukiko is, like, functionally Marie Antoinette. Like, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. There's Rei is called Saint Just after the French Revolution. And yeah, I think like the anime extends the like the petition arc, and does some ridiculous things of like Nanako getting kidnapped by two members of the sorority as they all try and like dogpile each other, which I think is interesting, as a direction to expand on. Um, as like the ex sorority members start reproducing the dynamics in like the abolition of sorority kind of thing.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, that stuff is mostly added in the anime because they expand that arc a little bit. It's interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Here it's more like yeah, it's kind of done pretty quickly, and like I think the way the anime does it, like the sorority is basically abolished, and that's kind of like the switch the order of Ray's death and the sorority being abolished because like it's like Fukiko gracefully accepts the sorority being abolished as like its last member, and like everyone's like, "Damn, it's a whole new world now," and that's like the context in which Ray decides to like get a new lease on life and asks Nanako on a date. Whereas in the manga, there's like a lot more. You don't see the members of the sorority kind of just abandon ship really quickly. And like yeah, they get the petitions and everything, but it's a really like Fukio basically only gives up when Ray dies, and she gets the shock from that, and she's like, "Oh, okay, I'll
Yeah.
abolish it myself," even which is interesting because she's like, "Oh no, now that you're dead, I'm actually no, I didn't mean it. Actually, I did love you." Oh.
Yeah, that is
And,
that is
and I
one
guess
thing.
like, I think
That is one thing I do like about the manga is like, because in the manga you don't get much of Fukiko's like interiority until that point, and like that's
yeah,
like the first time you really see it, and it feels pretty impactful.
yeah. And then in the anime, she kisses Ray's corpse on the mouth.
Yup.
That was crazy.
That was in
Yeah, because
fact
they
crazy.
have they have the whole weird suicide pact thing, which we have not mentioned at this point. But yeah, there was a suicide pact thing between uh, Ray and Fukiko, which Ray has been very normal about because it didn't happen. He's like, well, what the fuck? We're
Yup.
supposed to die together as sisters, and Fukiko was like, nah.
Yeah, it's a
Nah.
uh yeah, that's a really like good sequence of the story.
Um, we also do get the thing in the anime. In the anime, it's like, oh, Fukiko also knows they're both blood related, which is not implied in the manga.
Yeah.
Here it's like, oh, Ray knows, but keeps a secret. And in the anime, uh, Ray and Fukiko both know, and they both tell Nanako, and Nanako's like, I can't tell Fukiko that Ray
Yeah,
also knew this.
I feel like that was also in the manga, but it's been a bit since I've checked them both out. So if you're telling me that it's not, I trust you over my memory.
No, and I read this like yesterday, so I'm like, like, I don't think Nanako interacts with Fukiko much after like,
Right.
Ray's death, especially because like it basically becomes the Kaoru arc exclusively at that point for like the remaining
Yeah.
two
So
chapters of the manga.
yeah, I guess we should talk about the Kaoru arc. That's a
Yeah,
great segue.
I would say for probably most of the story, I'd say Kaoru was my favorite, and then I didn't necessarily like the last stretch of the anime. And I
Yeah,
think
it's
maybe the manga. I still think I have like maybe some. It's nothing I necessarily care for, but I think I'd like prefer the manga's handling of it.
yeah, that's fair. So like, okay, let's talk a little bit just for people who haven't seen it. What Kaoru's story is?
Well, maybe we should probably like
Uh,
establish like first of all for the actual blood relationship between not blood relationship, but the actual like they're fake siblings, but also kind of real siblings of like Takehiko and Nanako. Um,
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yes. So basically, uh, Takehiko is the child of Nanako's step, not step, a second dad, like not her birth dad, but like
yeah, like
her.
her mom married this guy that's currently her dad, and that dad was Takehiko's biological dad, and basically there was a split between him and his wife, and Takehiko did not go with his dad, obviously. And I feel like this is a difference the anime makes between the manga that I had to double check and make sure. Um, where like in the manga, like at first it's kind of like a made ambiguous or like, and is the direction the anime goes in the direction that like, uh, dad just like left Takehiko and mom for Nanako's mom. And that's just kind of a thing that's hung over the story as like, oh, that's fraught, but um, in the manga, the sort of like the last chapter or so, or second last chapter of the story is like, well, no, actually, the marriage is already falling apart. Takehiko's mom was already like, if not separated and leaving dad for another man, like was in the process of doing so and like cheating on her order, and like dad met Nanako's mom at a cafe in the context of I keep going to the cafe in my grief kind of thing, which kind of make in the manga it kind of like makes Nanako's dad more innocent of an actor.
Yeah,
Which
though
in the context
something I thought was interesting was that I feel like the manga plays a lot more heavily into like what's the word? The manga kind of no, the anime plays more heavily into the idea that Takehiko and his dad are like fully reconciled at the end,
yeah,
whereas in the manga it's a lot more yeah, at this point our relationship is kind of irrevocably fucked, but here's like one last thing I'm gonna do to help you, which is getting
yeah,
Takehiko a
it's
like
kind of like you,
college
it's
recommendation.
because you basically have like one interaction with them,
Yeah.
which is like the one there. It's like he gives them the letter of recommendation, and um, they do your best, but it's because they haven't seen each other in like forever, and but I think it's interesting that like his dad is less at fault in the manga, and in the anime, he's very clearly did a shitty thing selfishly, like abandoned his wife, because it's never suggested that Takehiko's mom was cheating on him or leaving for another guy in the anime. Takehiko's dad just left, and this is like it was like, oh, this could have been more interesting, but in the anime doesn't actually go there. They're just like, oh, actually, we're chill now. It's all good. It's really strange. Like,
Yeah. It is in fact very strange. Um,
um, but yeah, this ties into Kaoru and also gets kind of into Fukio in a way. Like the reason that uh, either of them, Kaoru basically at some point dated Takehiko. And Fukiko, the reason she had some feelings maybe for Takehiko is basically because Takehiko was like best friends with, forgetting his name, but they're Fukiko and Rei's brother. Do you remember?
yeah, that. Well, let's see if we can find it. His name is.
Who I think
Characters on any list.
he's a he's a weird guy because like there's the arc where they go to
Takeshi Ichinomiya.
Takashi is like Takehiko's best friend, and it feels a bit weird. He's a bit sleazy, I think.
Yeah,
Because like
sometimes he comes off as sleazy, sometimes he comes off as a bit nice. He is one of those
I think he's like,
characters.
yeah, he's like a kind of a playboy guy, but like I think the anime tries to play him more straight as a friendly guy, but like the subtext it could be sleazy. Whereas in the manga, there's just the shot of him where like the whole time where they're at the university fair, Mariko's like, we can't trust men, they're like creepers and stuff like that and predators. And then when Nanako and Mariko leave, Takeshi's like, oh, I'm gonna get that girl. And it's really fucked up. Especially because these
Yeah.
are university guys dating high schoolers. In both
Yes.
Takiko and Takeshi's case.
The
Um,
what's the word? The manga is a lot more. In the last chapter, is a lot more explicit about the fact that he and Fukiko sort of Mariko, he and Mariko sort of like end up together at the end. They're a lot more
yeah.
explicit
So like,
about this.
yeah, like Nanako is just like taken as a given, like, oh yeah, like Mariko is gonna end up with Takashi. That's just what is happening. Whereas in the anime that doesn't happen. Funny enough, like
Yeah.
Takashi still does a lot of like the work of like doing emotional support to Mariko when she's like crashing out, but like there's a lot less like, even though like they keep some of like the same energy, like they tone down whatever like more romantic angle there is there, and like by the end of the show, like Mariko is still kind of presented in a similar way. Um, she's just under for her dad, uh, but is kind of like played up as like, oh, she still has the same attitude towards the guys and isn't as necessarily as interested in Takeshi, which is interesting.
Yeah, she's kind of in the anime has a lot more focus on the end towards like the characters being sort of like reciprocated into like heterosexual marriage order social
Yeah,
relations.
this
There's
is
this
yes. I don't
there's
want
this
to like
whole sorry, real quick. There's this whole bit they added in the anime where after Ray dies, Fukiko is like, "Oh, Ray, it's so tragic that you died without knowing how good it feels to love a guy. Uh,
yeah
it's not great."
yeah.
Um,
Um, and also like that being kind of taken as a given as like, once Ray dies, Nanako's like very obvious lesbian crush is like gone, and now the door of uh now the only path forward is conforming to heterosexuality. Um,
yes,
that door
I
is closed.
feel like
I would
yeah,
I
it's
think we can get into more details as we talk about the Kaoru arc.
yeah.
Though we should probably start about maybe our
Uh,
earlier stuff first. But like, but I would say that like my feelings watching the last few episodes of the anime were like, oh damn, they're taking this in the everyone must compet. This is the most boring way you can do that. That sucks. And then I listened to Ghost Divers episode where their opinion was more along like, this isn't just the most boring way to end this. This is also maybe the most insidious way to end this. So they're a lot harsher on that. Go listen to that podcast.
yeah,
But
I
I
should.
won't regurgitate it
Did either
to
of
the
them
audience
end
as
up?
well. But
Did either of them end up reading the manga?
uh, I know the guest for that season did it.
Okay, because
Who
I
I think is
think.
Ruffy actually, but
Oh yes, is it? Is Ina guesting on that season?
yes, that was Ina's guest season.
Yes. Okay, that makes sense. Yes. So like yeah, because I think there is a lot more space in Ryo Ikeda's headspace for like homosexuality than there is in Dezaki's. Uh,
And
even
the and
if
I should point out, I just want to highlight, according to Wikipedia, the writers for the TV series are Hideo Takayashiki and Tomoko Komparu, and one of those is a male name. So there's a lot of guys filtering their petite on this episode.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, we'll talk about it more when we talk about the ending. But so Karu's role in the first part of the story, or I guess most of the story until her like dedicated story arc at the end, is that
Yeah,
she's a very like
she's kind of like the she's like
you go, you
the
go.
what she's like the one positioned as the lower class one compared to Rei and Fukio, and like even though she's like one of the big three, and so is therefore a shoe in for the sorority, she's like, I am against the idea of the sorority, and she kind of like likes to break up fights. She tries to like be on Rei's side against Fukio kind of stuff. In some ways, like maybe it's like a bit of like a doesn't care for the dynamic of like the school, and so like acts a bit above it all. But she is like calling out everyone on bullshit in a way that's fun. And she likes to play basketball. She's balling.
Yeah, she's
And she definitely has like an
what's the
attachment to Rei as like, because Rei is like Rei went before she went super turbo depressive mode, also played on the basketball team and was balling, and so there's like a little bit where like, oh, maybe Rei can find find a will to live and be balling again with Kaoru.
Yeah, she's kind of Ray's spoiled character in a way.
Yeah,
It's like it's
because she's
what's the word?
also
It's
suffering
like,
from
so
anime
her thing is that we are
disease the entire series.
Yeah, we kind of know that like early on that she is like suffering from some sort of illness, and she's worried that she might relapse and start dying. So she is just trying to
Yeah,
do she's just trying to do what you could call like she is just trying to tell Ray, you gotta live your fucking life. Like, come on, you've gotta live your
yeah. Like
life.
her thing is like for reasons outside my control, I may not have long to live, so I want to
She wants to help everybody else,
appreciate life to the
basically.
fullest. Yeah, and I also appreciate her life to the fullest, and as a contrast with Ray, who just like has given up on life itself despite not having like the illnesses, and instead has a billion drugs in her pocket, which leads to the scene where like Kaoru collapses and Nanako goes to go find Ray and is like, hey, can you give me some drugs? And Ray's just like, you want these ones? You want these ones? You want these ones? But yeah, then we find out in like the last arc or so of the show that specifically she had breast cancer, had to have one of her breasts removed, which the anime I think does not handle as well as
Yeah.
the
Okay.
manga.
So yeah. Okay. So this kind of leads directly into the ending, which is kind of where a lot of very big changes happen. Uh, in the manga, Karu just fucking dies.
Yeah, so that's the ending of the manga. Like she dies at the end.
Yeah, and like it's like literally the ending of the manga is just like it's like, oh, I got a letter from my brother, Karu's dead, Nanako's crying, cut. Um
Yeah,
the so part of how the anime sort of positions everybody into like the heterosexual social
yeah.
sexual order
So first,
is
maybe we should say that like Kaoru dated Takehiko for a bit,
oh
even though she's a
yes.
high schooler and he's a college student. But like broke up with him because of her illness and is like, well, I don't want him to be heartbroken when I die. So it's better if we aren't a couple, and he's like, "Nah, but I love you, so it's chill, death to us part, etc., etc." Um,
Yeah.
which is like fine as a thing on its own, but like is weird in the context of like, oh damn, he's an adult and you're a high schooler, and then he has to be like, I'm going to Germany. I bring my wife with me. You, and she's like, but that means I have to quit high school. And he's like, don't worry, there's high schools in Germany. I'm like, that's a crazy thing to say. Yeah, that's just a weird thing that you kind of just have to deal with. That's hanging over the plot of this. They're like, yeah, the last arc is a romance between this high school student. And I guess she did like miss a year, so she's a bit older, but is weird. I don't know her exact age, so.
Right. Yeah, so the whole way this goes is that in the manga, she kind of just fucking dies. Whereas in the anime, it's like, actually, your cancer never came back, and she's able to live, she's able to live, like, a normal, like, married life with Takahiko. Which I think
And they have a
sort of,
kid.
yep, and they have kids. I think all this stuff really damages sort of like
Well,
some of like the
I also think
theme
like
and story of her character.
I also think this is something I noticed when watching the anime, and I noticed it's like I'd say maybe not 100% gone, but like more subdued and more nuanced in the manga. Like I noticed immediately in the anime, like, well, for one thing, there's like sort of like there's maybe a bit more spent on like the horror of like, oh, she lost one of her breasts, that's crazy, oh, how horrible. Whereas in the manga, it's kind of done really quickly, but
It's a
also it's
little
almost
more
like it feels like
matter of fact.
in the anime almost feels like the way that they hammer in home like the severity of the loss of this is almost like Kaoru's butchness in a way is like almost a side effect or like downstream of, oh, she lost one of her breasts to surgery and therefore loss of femininity, and so part of the resolution of the arc is she basically becomes force-femmed by combat, and you see like she has more femme presentation as she's more brought back into the romance of Takiko and to be a normal heterosexual feminine relationship kind of thing.
Yeah, it's not good. Some might say it's really bad.
Yeah, so they talk about this in more detail and on Josephus as well, about sort of like Kara's butchness specifically, because I don't have the language to talk about that very well. But here's the thing that I noticed: like, oh, they are just making her more femme presenting as they like make her in a relationship with this guy. And I would say like I say that's less true in the manga because like I think at the end you still see her like she's wearing lipstick at the end when like she's on a plane, but like she still kind of like has a similar like fashion style. She's got like she can trade her like
it's a way more emphasized.
yeah
To
like
put it
it's looks
to put
like
it
like
oh, you first.
like I was saying, like it feels like in the anime she traded in her pants for a skirt, which isn't true of the last shot of her alive in the manga, where like she's clearly going on the plane with her pants. Like she's like basically has like it's like yeah she's wearing lipstick, but also in a way it's like it's the 70s. She's got like the 70s disco look almost, so it's like it's fine. It's not like a complete like it's not like a rejection of her butchness in to conform to like combat or anything in the same way it feels like in the anime, where it just feels like when they have the scene of everyone at the summer festival and you see like Kaoru the most femme yukata with lipstick on, it's like, well, okay, cool. And yeah, that's definitely like an aspect of like the combat coming into it more so in the anime. It's just like Kaoru's gender presentation.
Yeah, it's very The other part is that the the anime very specifically ends um, with like, with Nanako getting a new partner, and like the language used
Yeah.
is a
Yeah,
little
she's just like,
ambiguous, but emphasis on but. I think the framing in the anime to me feels a lot more like, oh, it's this like teenage fling she has that like, and then it kind of ends with being recuperated back into heterosexual social relations.
yeah, because she's like, she's writing to Takahiko, hey, I found this boy, like, he's also a college student, huh? Crazy. uh, and that's not what happens in the manga, where she's like, oh man, I got a letter that my brother's wife died. Now I'm gonna write him back. It's sad. I cried for 2 nights. Um,
Yeah, it's it's not. I'm generally a big fan of the anime. I like a lot of the changes and such, but
yeah,
I would say that I am those last episodes don't really do it for me. And
yeah.
while
Like,
I
I would
do,
say, like, I like the show a lot for up until episode 35, and then basically everything after that, I'm like, it's
yeah, uh, I think uh the manga is a lot better with that last arc of the story. I think,
yeah,
like it's not that none of that DNA is there. And again, funnily enough, with Mariko, you could argue with Mariko specifically, you can argue that it's worse. But um, I think overall, it's a much more textured way to end the story. Um,
yeah.
Broadly, my feeling is because the manga doesn't have so much goddamn filler. Uh, it I
Yeah, we don't, we
feel
don't, we
to
don't, we don't
me,
have the we don't have the arc where Rico forcefully drowns Nanako. And she's like, "Damn, I just thought you looked pretty underwater."
yeah,
I just remember that fucking happened. Jesus Christ.
it's so wild. But I to me at least, and I guess it's like to me at least, it's like there's two main ideas, right? There's the like, is it worth loving people even if they're gonna die bit? Um and
Yeah,
there's the like, as stronger and more coherent to me.
yeah, because I guess you have like the contrast between Ray dying and Nanako dealing with that versus like Karome, and in fact does die in the manga as a thing
Yes.
hanging over Takiko's relationship with her. Um, and we don't really get an answer from his end of like, was it worth it? Were those 2 years worth it? Probably, but also now he's got to find something else. Um, um, yeah, it's definitely an interesting exercise in seeing how they also just expanded the manga into 39 episodes.
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes in ways that are really interesting, sometimes in ways and sometimes in ways that are kind of boring. Like they'll just have a random filler episode where not that much happens and it's not particularly interesting.
Or when members of the sorority are like, "Hey, Nanako, come to the basement of this abandoned building for this meeting," and she's like,
Yeah,
"Okay, this is extremely
it,
normal."
sometimes I feel like it crosses the line over into being a little too silly for my taste. Some of the like anime editions.
It's living on that melodrama.
Yes.
We also have the interesting things where like like seeing like there's a little bit of like that one student who got sick and was kicked out of sorority because her grades are bad. Um, and in the anime, it's like there's an episode like the episode kind of ends with her and Nanako meeting in the park at night, and they sort of have a heart to heart of like, oh, you know what, the story's kind of fucked, to be honest. And Nanako's like, yeah, it kind of is, isn't it? Um, and in the manga, instead, they have that conversation kind of briefly on the bus one time, but then that's moments later that gets cut off because like that's when Nanako gets basically absconded into skipping class with Ray. Um,
Right.
so it's interesting seeing like placement of things like that. Also interesting that the first 3 chapters of this manga are like 10 pages for some reason. I don't know what's up with that.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they were just sort of settling into the serialization.
Yeah. And it happened in like a span of like 6 months, it seems like. So that's a very quick series.
Yeah.
It's interesting that the Wikipedia page for the Dear Brother episodes explains all the differences of the manga.
Oh, that's really neat. I'm not used to Wikipedia pages for anime being so thorough.
Yeah, that surprised me. Episode 21. In the manga, there are less interactions between Mariko and Takashi. Also, in the manga, he's far cockier to Mariko than the anime, where he's hilariously confused at her hostility. Thank you, Wikipedia.
So true, Wikipedia.
Wikipedia for episode 24, Encore. The events of episode 22 to 24 did not happen in the manga. Thank you, Wikipedia.
Yeah, but I don't know. All things considered, I still like the anime a lot, and I think the manga is like genuinely just really great. It's like really great drama just
Yeah.
from start to finish.
Yeah, it's just a good, it's quick, easy read. Well, despite maybe the content trigger warnings, but you know, it's pretty quick. It's pretty good. It has nice art. It's very pretty. Shocker, Takeda is a good, pretty manga artist. Who'd have thought?
Yeah, you don't.
Is that everything?
Yeah, we basically did. So I guess all things considered, who's your favorite? Like you said, Kaoru till the end. Does that still stick, or?
I guess it's maybe a toss up between Kaoru and Ray. But he's like Kaoru does get this big debuff when it's the anime plot. And not that I'm really crazy about like how. Not that I'm crazy about being married to Takiko in any scenario, but he's just worse in the anime.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I'm a Ray and Mariko person. Probably. At the end of the day, my sensibilities are a little more Ray than Mariko, but I like them both a lot.
Mariko is good.
Mariko's good. She's almost a little bit more of a like supporting character, so sometimes I wish she was a little more like tied into the story overall. But whenever they do focus on her,
Yeah.
it's really good.
Yeah. We talked about her basically trying to kidnap Nanako to her house for lesbianism early on. That does
Oh,
happen.
yeah. That was like when I got really hooked into the show, I think. That like set of episodes.
She's like, hey, come to my birthday party. It's just you. Also, let's go with the bath together.
Normal for girls.
Of course. Episode 32. Pride in the Meeting Falling. In the manga, this does not happen, and Fukiko is furious at Rei for ruining her life. Thank you, Wikipedia.
But yeah, I think that is most of it. Like I think we basically covered everybody.
Yeah. There's technically there's not much to talk about with the manga in general, and we're only like cheating a bit with like talk about the anime. We don't have to go into like we're not going to go into detail with like a 39 episode show that's also we've seen months ago.
Right. Yeah. We're not talking about like each of the 39 episodes in detail.
All right. So in that case, maybe we can just exit the podcast. Do you want to give your plugs?
Yeah. I'm Kimmy Catherine on Blue Sky. I'm mismatchedwings.itch.io for my visual novels. I actually am currently actively working on a game again. That'll be out.
Yay.
I think the jam for it ends October 14th. So that'll be out around then. If it interests you, you can play it. Yeah, those are my plugs.
Look forward to that. You can send in any emails. Actually, wait, hold on. Detour. You can follow this podcast on Twitter at UltraQPod. No, at UltraQ. No, sorry. This is the thing Reddit usually does. At Ultra_Q. That's QUEWE. No underscore on Blue Sky. You can send an email to ultraqpod@gmail.com. There's Coffee UltraQ Fund. We're still in the middle of Ultraman 80 on the main show. Presumably within like a week or two of you listening to this, there'll be another proper teacher Quarry on Golden Kamuy, the next batch. I still have to start reading that. And also sometime later this month, in a couple weeks or so, Catherine and I have to figure out when we're going to do the next Gamera one, the first 90s movie. That's this month.
Yeah, it's really exciting.
Yeah, maybe watch a good movie this time.
It'll be good, I believe.
We don't have any turtle-related sign-offs this time. Do you have a more generic one you want to pull out?
You know what? No, I'm still gonna see you in the depths of Atlantis. They can have sororities in Atlantis too.
The turtle sororities?
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll see you in Shell later, everyone.
Bye, everyone.